Back on the Peter King podcast. Happy to be joined by actually the happiest man in the National Football League, Bruce Arians. And I'm going to tell you, the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm going to tell you why he's so happy. It was a little over a year and a half ago, around mid-season 2018, when I ran into Bruce Arians in the Intercontinental Hotel in Kansas City. Bruce was in town in Kansas City to do a game between the Chiefs and the Arizona Cardinals for CBS television. He was on a broadcast team with Greg Gumbel and Trent Green. And I can tell you, Bruce Arians really, really liked Greg Gumbel and Trent Green. But Bruce Arians had determined something by midway through the season in 2018. And that is he didn't really like doing television versus doing football. And I just remember that day walking away from that little meeting, just chatting with you in the lobby, thinking, this guy wants to get back into it. And then 3 months later, you're the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then the other magic wand moment, about a year and 2 months after that, you're able to sign Tom Brady. So, Bruce, I guess if you can look back at how quickly your life has changed from thinking that probably you never were going to coach again to getting a coaching job. And now all of a sudden, you got the guy who might be the greatest quarterback of all time on your team.
Yeah, it's been an amazing ride. It's been an amazing ride. I never thought I'd coach again, and I knew I was done with broadcasting, and I just had to bite my tongue way too many times. And but what a great crew that was. You talk about Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, all that. What a crew. Melanie Collins, Suzanne Smith, everybody. They were just fantastic, and it was fun. But no, I miss the guy. I miss the locker room. Sometimes people don't understand what the locker room means, but the relationships with the coaching staff, the players, and then I was very fortunate my whole coaching staff was available, and got this great opportunity in Tampa. And like you said, we evaluated what we went through last year and tried to see if we can make everything better. And Tom Brady decides to leave, and I don't think any of us believed it at the time. And he decided to come with us, and we're extremely, extremely excited about it.
So let's kind of get into the present a little bit. I was thinking this on my way down here, and I thought if Bruce Arians looks at his career and the quarterbacks he's been able to coach, it's hard for me to imagine that any coach of that position has ever had a roster of guys the likes of which you've had.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck, obviously now Tom Brady, and I'm forgetting Carson Palmer. Who am I forgetting?
Well, the guy that always gets left out, who I thought was a hell of a player, just got broken up, was Timmy Couch.
Tim Couch, yeah.
Timmy Couch took the Browns to the playoffs and broke his leg in the last game, and couldn't play against the Steelers. And his arm was broken by then. He got sacked so many times. But Timmy Couch was a hell of a player, and so was Kelly Holcomb. But I've been very, very fortunate. To be a good coach, you better have good players. That's for sure. That surely helps.
So, when did you really think you had a good shot at Brady?
When we finally were able to talk, in person, or actually over the phone, just talk and hear his side of it, what he was looking for, what we were looking for, the type of collaboration I've always had with our quarterbacks. It was more like he was selling himself more than us trying to sell us. And
How so? In a conversation, he was saying, I still think I can do X, Y, and Z.
Oh yeah, there was no doubt about that. It was just like he knew every player on our team. He'd watched all the film, and was we could do this, we can do that. And then anytime you're in negotiation with a player, he starts saying we got a good shot, and so it was a great conversation, led to another one, and I still pinch myself sometimes that it actually happened, but man, has he been a dream to work with.
What is it strikes me that Byron Leftwich told me this, your offensive coordinator, basically that the biggest misconception in his mind is that Tom Brady can't fit in your offense. That he's not an ideal quarterback for your offense. So you heard that being said, being written by a lot of smart people. And what did you think?
They weren't that smart. I mean, the guy can make every throw. The thing about our offense is you throw it to the guys that's open. Some start deep, some start short, work their way up. Um, we had a couple of guys in Carson and Jameis that would, if it was just nearly open, they were going deep. And Carson, they both hit them. So, you know, if Tom feels that way, he takes a shot. If not, read it out. He's going to put it to the open guy. And he and Peyton have that same characteristic. I'm not going to take a 50-50 shot when they got a 90% shot underneath. And I think in Carson and Jameis's, and they were great at it. They took that deep shot a lot. So it's like any quarterback, Tom says, I'm going to throw it to the guy who's open.
Bruce, Tom told me that he said that, he was thinking about this off season, but he said, in my 30 years playing football, high school, college, and pro, this is the first time I've ever had an offensive guy as head coach. So did he tell you that?
Oh, yeah. That was part of the conversation. It's like, yeah, I know that feeling because, if our offense doesn't have a good practice, I think the team was shitty that day, and the defense had a great practice. And John Devin, God bless him, way back at Temple, he said, we're coming off the face of coach. Can the defense ever just win one day? And I had to think about it. I said, yeah, that's really bad. I am bad about that. And so like 2-minute drills and stuff. No, you didn't get a sack. Let's go. Keep going. And, so I want to see the offense win, but I want to see both sides play the drill. But obviously I lean more toward the offense. So, yeah, it's that way. It was that way in Arizona a lot, too. Todd was, hey, can we win just one day? You're going to stay out here. We're going to stay out here for 30 more minutes till the offense wins. And I would say, no, we've had enough.
Tell me what it's like day to day to work with Brady. What's your relationship like? How often do you speak to him? And what are those conversations like?
Yeah, I mean, he has 3 really great coaches in the room with him. Clyde is a fantastic quarterback coach.
Clyde Christensen, your quarterback coach.
Clyde Christensen, and then Byron Leftwich. And he also has Tom Moore sitting in the corner just in case he wants to ask a question. And it was funny because he came up to me one day and said, man, I hated that guy for 15 years. He's a hell of a guy. And I said, he is a wealth of knowledge, brother. He loves telling stories. And but yeah, mine are more small fundamental details, something that I see on the field that I'll just walk up to him and, it might be a hand signal. It might be why we're doing something, why we've done it over time, different than what he's done, and why we do it, and how we do it. So, and it's great fun meeting in the middle and collaborating with him.
Would you say you do that daily, or how often?
Yeah, at a practice, 4 or 5, 6 times in a practice.
Okay. Was it difficult to merge any of the stuff that he really wanted to do, or the way he did it, with what you did? I mean, it's one thing, Josh McCown always tells the story that, he had 16 different offensive coordinators in his career. Tom had Josh McDaniels for whatever, 13 years. So he's been ingrained in this one offense for 2 decades, and now he changes. So what has that process been like for him and for you to adjust to it?
So much of it's just verbiage. I mean, there's slide protection, there's man protection. Some people call it scat, some people call it jet, some people give it a number. Same thing with slide protections. I mean, you can only protect so many different ways. And he's seen them all. He's seen every blitz. It's just learning the verbiage on how we handle it and what we expect from the quarterback position, where some teams, they won't throw hot receivers. And, and he's seeing what we've done. And he said, I watched it on film all those years. I never knew that's what it was. And so it's fun. It's great because he's got 20 years of experience and a resume that's unbelievable, and nobody else has one. So when you're dealing with that type of mind, it's fascinating for a coach to stand there and watch what he's thinking, what we're thinking, and how we meet.
Have you asked him his opinion on certain plays and certain things that maybe with other quarterbacks you've had, you haven't necessarily asked the same kind of questions?
Oh, totally. Yeah, give me the things you love doing. Show me on the board what you love to do. We had about a 3-hour day one day, and and then we have that same similar thing. We call it this, and this is why we do it. And he's, oh, cool, because he's used to audibling so much, and we haven't asked our guys to audible that much in the last few years. You're going back to Peyton, he would have 3 plays in the huddle, and he might run a 4th one because he saw something he liked. Tom can do those type of things. We'll give him those type of things to do. But right now it's just, let's get it all down pat, which he probably has 90% of it in the book right now in his mind. And it's just going out and getting full speed reps. And that's what we're missing is full speed reps.
When you finished that long meeting, that 3-hour meeting with Tom, who was in the room that day?
Just he and I.
Okay. When you finished that and he walked out of there, how did you feel about what he liked versus what you like to call? What was going through your mind both during and at the end of that meeting?
It's going to be a lot easier for what we're doing because we're not going to ask him to put us in the perfect play every play. Now he's got 2 wide receivers that can beat anybody one-on-one and tight ends, and just if you read out our patterns, you'll get to the right guy. Sure, if there's the right coverage and we've got a play that's an easy audible play, go do it. I'm not going to take that away from you because you can handle that, and sometimes young quarterbacks can't. So yeah, he gives us great flexibility at the position to do a lot of things that we've done over the years.
When I was watching your practice this morning, we're recording this on Thursday, and I watched your practice on Thursday morning. Maybe it was just drills, and if it was, just tell me. But man, your quarterbacks were moving a lot, throwing on the run an awful lot, moving in between obstacles and things like that. Do you anticipate running a lot of those things, or is that just simply drill work you want to get done in training camp?
Yeah, I call it the driving range. Our quarterbacks go to the driving range for 20 minutes every day, and it's just fundamental drills. Clyde does a great job of making them dodge things, keeping the ball up in the pocket, getting the ball out of their hands when they do have to scramble, where to look, and have guys out there scrambling with him. So yeah, that's going to the driving range, just working on your quarterback fundamentals every single day.
What I saw in that drill, especially when he was throwing on the run, I think he had O.J. Howard to the left, and he had Rob Gronkowski to the right. He was throwing fastballs. And that's the one thing, quite honestly, at the end of last year that I really wasn't sure about with Tom, right at the end. Can he still be, maybe he's not Nolan Ryan anymore, but can he be Kershaw? Or can he be somebody who can really still throw it? And again, look, it's August 13th. So you don't play for another month, but I like what I saw of his arm. Tell me what you have seen so far.
Yeah, I've seen a he's got great mechanics. He throws with his entire body. So I would doubt he would ever get a sore arm, just the way his mechanics are so good. And how well he takes care of himself. His footwork's meticulous. And yeah, there's a ton of zip on the ball. He threw a ball 60 yards the other day to Scotty Miller that was on a dime. Will that last through December? I think so, just because he takes care of himself so much. We don't have any kind of pitch counts on him right now. He's one of those guys. I got to reel him in. We're not throwing in a walkthrough. He just still throws it out there. I say, wait a minute, you threw enough balls this morning, all right? He just can't get it out of his head. So I had to cuss him out yesterday.
Yeah. So you had to make him stop after a while?
Yeah, I had to call him an ugly names and quit throwing the damn ball in the walkthrough.
Um, yeah, I'll end with two things that I'm curious about. During this pandemic, what has been the biggest effect, the biggest impact on your team as you've gotten ready for this season?
Probably the loss of about 400 reps for our young players. In spring we have two fields, so if we have 40 reps in 10 practices, they get 400 reps, and it's it's hard because we can't evaluate our young guys. We kind of know what our older guys can do. That and just the short amount of time in pads with no preseason games. Uh, I hate tackling our own guys and blocking our own guys low, but we're going to have to do it to get ready for a ball game. And so it's one of those things you just hold your breath, and nobody gets hurt, and get enough work in and be smart about it.
Might you have a week or so before the season some sort of real inter-squad scrimmage?
Yeah, I was going to hope to have like two spring games like you have in college, but the college guys have 150 players. I talked to a number of people in college, and it's not. We've got some guys that coached college not long ago on our staff, and you got 150 guys. You can have a hell of a spring game, but when you only have 76 because you got four specialists, it's real hard to split your team up and not overwork somebody. I don't want to run a scrimmage and have Jason Pierre-Paul get 40 snaps. He doesn't need it. It's so we'll have inter squad scrimmages, but they'll be more controlled. But they'll be in the stadium with everything blasting and everything going on in the stadium that we'll have on game day.
Finally, I guess I would be curious about how you have felt about COVID. There's obviously some questions about, COVID being tougher on people of age. Okay. And obviously, how old are you now, Bruce?
I'll be 68 in October.
Yeah. So, and I'm out at practice today, and I'm looking over, and you're having a conversation with Tom Moore, and I looked him up. He's 81 years old. And okay, you both have masks on, but I wonder how much fear, trepidation, whatever, did you have, and did you talk to Tom Moore at all about it?
Oh yeah. We were both. He was in Hilton Head. I was at Georgia at the lake until we came back, and we were both very safe about what we were doing there. I haven't been out to dinner probably in, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. Neither has he, and it was like, we've got, I think, 5 coaches over 65, and I'm a cancer survivor. I was an asthmatic kid, so I got every damn thing you can have to be in high risk. So I wear 2 masks sometimes. Uh, I was told that wraparound sunglasses are as good or better than the eye shield, and I just have to be careful because I love getting in the huddle with our guys, and a lot of them, outside they don't have to wear their masks, so I just have to watch and be a little more careful than I normally would be. But life, you gotta live, and I take every precaution I can possibly take. I'm very, very satisfied with the protocols put in by the league. Our guys are, I think, committed to each other to make sure we stay safe, and then they know they have to keep Coach Moore and myself and all the rest of the high risk coaches that keep them safe too. So we had a long, long talk about that when we first got started, and I feel very comfortable about it. Is there risk? Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's worth it to me.
Bruce, is this going to work?
I think so. I think so. It only takes 1 or 2 young players to screw it all up, but I think I think we've got the protocols in place, and I think we're going to get through it. Yes.
I had this feeling after you signed Tom Brady, and the disease kept getting worse, and now you're in this big hot spot. And look, I know this is going to sound very very careless and 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 a little bit uncaring, but I said to myself, Bruce Arians is not giving up the chance to coach Tom Brady. Period. I
Right.
mean, I wouldn't. I mean, if it was 5 times worse than it is right now, I just think. And again, I don't think I know you as well as a lot of people do, but I kind of know you well enough to know that this is to you in what your choice of job is in your life. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, and,
Yeah,
and you're grabbing it.
I totally, totally. And I can honestly say if Tom wasn't our quarterback, I'd be as all in as I am today. But with Tom, that's like a cherry on the top, you know. I mean, that's everything. And but yeah, I mean, whoever our quarterback was, whoever our players were, um, I'm all in. We want a ring, and we're going to do everything we can to get one. And we've got great ownership, great general manager, and a hell of a football team. And we just stay committed to beating the virus. I think we'll be able to beat teams on the field.
Bruce Arians, Tampa Bay head coach, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Pete.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.